Welcome to a demonstration on how to use email categories for email integration management as set up by 123Sync email integration module. We use email integration as an ease and visual log of 123Sync's email integration actions. If the email is matched, we mark it as matched. If it's unmatched, we put a category to unmatched. And we take care of the exclusions as well. So if the email is being marked as private, we put a privacy mark on it. If it's been excluded from integration by a keyword, we put that in there. Or if the user has set up exclusion or inclusion rules that we follow, we'll add that. Or if you have a general exclusion due to a rule that you set up on the general settings in 123Sync, we will mark that email that way. These features are first available on 123Sync version 17.2.30. Anything before then does not have these features. So let's look at a screenshot of how it's going to look. So if we can look here at the emails, and we can see that we're marked as unmatched. The emails have been unmatched. The green ones are marked as matched. And we have one email here on eBay that has a general exclusion that says if anything coming from eBay, please exclude from an integration. So you can, by simply looking at the listing of the emails on your inbox or your sent items, and you can see whether those emails have been included or not. So without further ado, let's look at 123Sync that we've set up as an email integration only. We can look at the process filter, which says integrate emails only. And then we go to the email part. On the email part, we got the folders, inbox settings, and whatnot. So what we're going to do here is on the post-integrated email actions, we're going to say, okay, we got the categories field tagging now screen. And here we can say if there's set match email categories, that means if there's a match, we put a field called match into the categories in Outlook. So if it's not matched, we put it as unmatched in Outlook. So now we know that if something is matched or unmatched, we put it as these items in Outlook. We also now have, if there's any exclusions, that any rules that you set up in 123Sync to exclude. So we have now these options here that says if the user privacy category set to private, use a keyword category. If it's set, if that is triggered, we have a keyword exclusion. Or if you have a user exclusion inclusion category, we set it up under user field exclusion or the general exclusion category. What I will do now is just explain where these exclusions come from. So basically an exclusion is the email can be integrated, but it's excluded from the integration due to rules that have been set up in 123Sync. The first rule is the private. So if you go to private settings, we have all public emails, and if we set here if any private emails do not integrate, if that is set, you will have the 123Sync say, oh, this email has not been integrated. So that's the privacy setting. So we just get here email is private. That means it's going to be integrated. The second option here, which is the keyword exclusion, that means if there's a keyword on the subject line that we don't want to integrate. And the keyword exclusion setting is on the privacy settings, exclude from integration subject keyword. So if you find this on the email, then the email gets excluded from ACT. So this line, exclude from ACT in parentheses, is encountered on the subject line, it's excluded from ACT. And we tell it, we will show that there's a keyword exclusion on the email and it was not included. Now we have the user exclusion inclusion category. Here it's a user field inclusion. That's how we set that up. So, and that comes from this tab. So if the exclude integration, if a user field is set, like for example, if a user field 7 is set to no include, then you will trigger if that is enabled, and if this comes true, then this will put on the email. So we keep track of the inclusion exclusion. And the same thing as on the inclusion as well. And finally, the general exclusion category, very common in a lot of configurations. And this is we tag it that it's been coming from the general settings. The general exclusion category is from the general settings. You go to email, and if you look here, there's an inbox and a sent items exclusion. So you can set up rules that you want. So you can add a rule here and say if my address at 123sync.com, if that is equal to the sender's email, so we can add this, and that basically what we've created is an exclusion on the inbox to exclude this item from the inbox from integration. The same thing happens on the sent items integration. And many times it can be anything from domain names or just a particular address per se. So when we encounter this, it triggers a general exclusion category setting in 123sync, and that gets entered into the 123sync into that folder. So going back to the folder, let's have a look. Here we are in the Outlook inbox, or the inbox that we're looking at, and it's unmatched and matched, and we can actually look at these emails and see what to do. So the interesting part, to set up categories. Categories by default, you cannot see them in Outlook. You can only see the primary fields. So if you want to have a categories field that you see on the folder, just right click on the categories field, do view settings, click on columns, and then on the columns you can actually make sure that category is in there. You can take it off if you want, or you can just add it to here and then move it up, and that will show you where you want to see them. So that's one thing. One thing is to be able to see categories in Outlook about the emails. The second part also is you can actually manage the categories and add different colors. So if you right click on it, you can click on all categories, and you can actually change the categories of the different items here. So on this guy, for match, we have green. We can say, okay, instead of green, we want purple. We can do this, and then all the categories now, all the match ones are purple and with match. So you can do this in Outlook, and that will set up a color scheme that is compliant or pleasant for your viewing, and personalized as well. Another question we get also, what do we do when there's an unmatched email? We've run it again, and here we have one email of a very good reseller of ours that is actually unmatched. So what do we do with this? So we just double click on it, and we say, okay, let's go to 123 Connect, and then just add it. Just click on add, and we'll give here, just we call it Act Today. These are resellers in Australia. And we say, okay, let's just add this individual to our Act database. So he's been added. So now he's part of the Act database. So we get here and we say, okay, let's go and click and then just sync all the users. And it will go through the unmatched users and said, okay, which one did it match to Act? We're done, and we look here now, and now it's matched. So now we can see that these records are now matched to the Act record. So it changes the categories and the category listing for the unmatched records to the matched records as well. Of course, we can go into Act, just click here and then just put in the email address, then say, okay, here's our reseller we just added to the ACT database through the interface of 123 Connect. Just click on history, and now we have all the emails that have been matched, that have been attached to JOS. And of course, from the email attachment, you can just double click on it, and here it is right here. You can then basically just double click on this, and the email will open for you on using the Outlook interface. Very simple, very straightforward, very powerful. Time saver 100%. This concludes our presentation on how to use categories for your email integration management. Contact your integrator, or just contact 123sync.com for more information, and we'll be able to help you. And you can use our product for 15 days with no charge. Okay, contact us. Be good. Be happy.